You are listening from Lee Swift Book.
Is life merely a string of immediate material worries, or is it also the quiet call of an infinite longing deep within us? In the relentless rush of modern life, how many people truly have the courage to set aside economic burdens and social status to pursue something called a purely spiritual ideal? That ideal is the joy rising from the very depths of the heart, the brave journey of stepping beyond every craving for stability that has quietly entangled us. The great novelist W. Somerset Maugham once distilled this truth with bitter clarity in the Moon and Sixpence. Most of us do not live the life we desire. We live the life we are forced to live. The moon stands for lofty ideals, while the sixpence represents ordinary reality. Will you choose to lift your eyes toward the moon hanging high above, or bow your head to practical needs, to the rice jar that is never quite full? Ultimately, the answer lies deep within each person's own awareness. We have spoken before about the true story of Henry David Thoreau, a man who gave up the potential to become wealthy, and instead walked alone into the woods, building a small cabin by Walden Pond. Almost instantly, his story divided listeners into two opposing camps. One saw his choice as selfish, even irresponsible toward his family. The other viewed it as a profound source of inspiration, a call to live in harmony with the rhythm of one's own heart. So where does this emotional divide come from? And how can any of us, whether we choose the moon or the sixpence, live a life free of regret? The answer does not lie in the outside world. It rests within the pages of these classic books. Today, I want to share that perspective with you, so that when you stand at the threshold of your own choice, your heart may be steadier and your steps more certain. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lee Swift Book, a space where we explore knowledge together and cultivate a more complete version of ourselves through books of lasting value. Today, the theme we will dive into is Your Awareness Determines Everything, examined through a timeless literary masterpiece that has endured across generations, The Moon and Sixpence. This novel was written by the renowned English novelist and playwright W. Somerset Maugham, one of the most widely read and influential writers of the first half of the 20th century. In truth, each person's awareness shapes the way they pursue life. And to understand this more clearly, let us begin with the central character of the story, Charles Strickland, a stockbroker living in London. He has a well-paid profession, a seemingly happy family with a devoted wife and children, and a social standing that earns him widespread respect. By all appearances, Strickland is living a life that many people would envy. In short, he embodies what society defines as success. But then, everything changes, suddenly and without warning. But what no one expected was that this quiet, middle-aged man, seemingly dull and unremarkable, would suddenly abandon everything he had spent the first half of his life building. Strickland left for Paris without a word in person, leaving behind a letter to his wife, barely 10 lines long, declaring that he would never return. At 40, Strickland coldly and decisively cast aside his wife and children. He did so for one vague and fragile dream, to become a painter. In the eyes of society, this choice was branded foolish and disastrously wrong. The first mistake was giving up a comfortable, stable life to step into poverty and deprivation. He poured all his time and energy into painting, utterly indifferent to food, clothing, or shelter. Strickland required only the bare minimum to survive. He accepted any kind of manual or temporary work that would earn quick money, then spent every cent on oil paints, locking himself away in his studio. The second mistake, according to conventional judgment, was that he was reckless, naive, and blindly gambling on an uncertain future. People said that if you wanted to learn painting, you should start at 18. Only then might there be hope. He was already old, his technique mediocre at best, and yet he dared to dream of becoming an artist, relying on nothing more than a childhood aspiration. Faced with such criticism, Strickland responded bluntly, "You're the fool. I've told you I must paint. I can't do otherwise." This sentence carries a profound philosophy. When a person falls into deep water, whether they are a good swimmer no longer matters. What matters is that they struggled to survive, or accept drowning. And this forces us to reflect. Does pursuing a dream really require perfect conditions? Or is society itself foolish for measuring personal choices by other people's standards of success and utility? Many are willing to spend their finite time enduring an unhappy life. But when someone chooses to devote that same finite life to pursuing a dream, regardless of success or failure, regardless of gain or loss, is that stupidity or is it courage? Psychologist Carl Jung once observed that most people do everything they can to avoid confronting their own soul. Strickland, however, was someone who dared to face his. He had the courage to leap out of the comfort zone and follow his inner calling. Whether material wealth is supreme, or merely a worn-out shoe that can be discarded, depends entirely on your awareness. And once you truly believe that life is painfully short, you will no longer be a shallow stream. You will become deep water. You will become the open sea. Your awareness does not only determine whether you dare to pursue the moon of your ideals, it also determines the order of priorities in your real, everyday life, even when it comes to the very ordinary sixpence of material reality. Take Strickland's wife, for example. She belonged to the upper class, deeply attached to status, reputation, and social prestige. In her mind, life should flow like a calm river, stable, orderly, and complete. Then Strickland's sudden departure shattered that peaceful reality. Without warning, after 17 years of marriage, the man she thought she knew best revealed himself to be the greatest stranger of all. He abandoned his family not for another woman, but for painting. The shock left her humiliated, stripped of dignity, and plunged into despair. Yet she woke up almost immediately. With the pillar of her life gone, she understood that the only option left was to stand on her own. She acted decisively. She learned to type, rented out her house, sold her belongings, and moved into a small home. She willingly stepped away from the old glow of privilege and admiration. Through diligence and persistence, her career gradually took shape, and her children grew into capable adults. In time, she was able to return to high society and give up her typing job altogether. She succeeded because, in her awareness, relying on others was never honorable. Her lifelong pursuit was self-reliance, along with maintaining outward respectability and social dignity. Clearly, different forms of awareness lead to different priorities, and therefore to different paths of effort. Strickland placed painting above everything else, and sacrificed all else to turn his dream into reality. His wife placed dignity and independence first, working tirelessly to achieve what she valued most. In the end, you will always reap what you have sown. Whether one pursues art or prestige, as long as your heart feels genuine joy in what you chase, free of inner conflict or self-betrayal, then that choice cannot be judged as right or wrong, noble or trivial. The final value of your life is answered only by your own heart, because in the end, your awareness decides whether you are happy or not. Our awareness does not stop at defining personal ideals or setting material priorities. It extends further, shaping how we treat the people around us. In this novel, Maugham introduces another important character, Dirk Stroeve. He is a painter not yet 30, clumsy in technique and lacking brilliance in execution, yet gifted with extraordinarily perceptive eyes capable of recognizing true genius. More importantly, Stroeve is the only person who can genuinely understand Strickland's paintings, and he gives everything he has to support him. When Strickland falls gravely ill, Stroeve takes him into his own home and nurses him back to health, despite fierce opposition from his wife. Yet during this period of care, Stroeve's wife, who had disliked Strickland from the very first meeting, cannot avoid repeated contact with him. Gradually, she falls in love with this cold, distant man, becomes deeply infatuated, and longs to live with him. Stroeve is devastated beyond words, but out of love for his wife, and also out of reverence for Strickland's artistic genius, he ultimately chooses to step aside. He gives up his own home, leaving it to his wife and Strickland, hoping they might find happiness together. Unexpectedly, it does not take long before Strickland abandons Blanche Stroeve as well. Most people would conclude that Strickland is simply heartless in matters of love. But in truth, the root of the tragedy lies in the fact that Strickland and Blanche do not share the same awareness. They pursue entirely different goals. Blanche seeks romantic love. She does not care about society's judgment, but she needs emotional closeness and companionship. In Strickland's heart, however, art stands above everything else. He does not wish to spend time on love, and so, in the end, he chooses to leave. To Strickland, two people with different forms of awareness and different life pursuits can never remain together forever. As for Stroeve, who loved his wife with all his heart, he waits, hoping she will return to him. But his waiting leads only to a cruel ending. Blanche takes her own life, drinking poison for love of another man. Even so, Stroeve's love for his wife does not diminish his admiration for Strickland's art. He even invites Strickland to come live with him in his homeland, the Netherlands, an offer that is firmly refused. Stroeve can be said to be a genuinely good man throughout the novel. He is like a farmer holding a poisonous snake in his arms. Bitten once, he forgets the pain as soon as the wound heals, and then gathers the snake back to his chest again. Stroeve seems to embody all the contradictions God could create. He is short and overweight, often mistaken for a foolish, wealthy man. Yet in truth, he is an artist with remarkably sharp aesthetic judgment. His own paintings lack realism, appear flashy and distorted, but he himself is utterly sincere, incapable of exaggeration or pretension. Stroeve is kind-hearted, compassionate, and generous. He never imagines that he will encounter someone like Strickland, a man who sees no one but himself and shows no loyalty and love. He loves his wife more than his own life, even when all he receives in return is betrayal. He is mocked by his peers, yet when they ask to borrow money, he still helps without hesitation. That is how Stroeve lives, giving and giving, never asking for anything in return. As the novel itself describes, Stroeve is noble and selfless. Even a painfully tragic ending cannot conceal the greatness of his nature. Different forms of awareness give rise to different ways of treating others. Some people find joy in helping without expecting repayment, while others live selfishly, always calculating for their own benefit. No matter how harsh life may be, there is always a place that belongs to you, a place where you can entrust a clear conscience and a love for all living things. Your awareness will determine how you treat others, so listen to what your conscience tells you. Live fully, and give love freely. Awareness is a universal key. It does not only open the door to personal ideals or arrange our material priorities, it also illuminates how we relate to others. To live in your own way, in circumstances you genuinely accept, with inner calm and without constant struggle. That is true freedom, a life guided and enlightened by spirit. Each person defines success and failure differently. And because awareness differs, life choices naturally diverge. Some pursue fame and wealth, others long only for a quiet, unhurried, and free life. In the end, how you choose to live rests entirely on your own awareness. So how do we live a life without regret? The philosopher Alfred Adler once stated clearly, "You do not live to meet the expectations of others, and others do not live to meet yours." A human life is never narrow. It cannot be confined by simple labels such as success or failure, good or bad, right or wrong. Everyone has their own way of living, and no one else has the right to interfere or to judge whether that way of life is superior or inferior, as long as you truly love it. Whether you choose the moon or the sixpence, you do not need to live cautiously within other people's perceptions. At the same time, you have no right to criticize or condemn how others live or how they see the world. There is no fixed ruler for priorities in life. The core message the author wishes to convey is this: listen to your heart and choose the life you truly want, because that choice itself is the greatest success. Face your own soul. Be yourself. Give your utmost effort. The painter Vincent van Gogh once captured this philosophy beautifully. There is a fire in every heart. Passers-by can only see the smoke. You live for the fire within you, not for the smoke in other people's eyes. Whether you gaze up at a sky full of stars or walk steadily upon the earth, live in the way you choose. As long as your heart feels no inner conflict or struggle, that is enough. I wish you, and I wish myself, and all of us, a wonderful life. One lived true to our desires and lived to the fullest. Thank you for listening. If you found this content meaningful, please share it with those who may need it. Support Lee Swift Book with a like, a follow, and by turning on notifications so you won't miss future videos. Thank you, and see you next time.